got no fucks to give. Ain't got no fucks to give. I got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 fucks to give. I felt we needed a new rendition to the jingle for this new season. And if you are watching over here on Project Me TV on YouTube, you will see my hat. And I would love to know what you think about it. It is online with 0 fucks given, or you can do I've got 0 fucks to give, because that is the first thing that you need to do. And I'm going to do it with you. If you're in any kind of motivation slump in your business, you've been procrastinating, you've been loafing, you know you need to get your ass in gear if you want to get that bag for your business and your life, and you need to snap out of it. This is the episode you're going to listen to now and keep coming back to, because we're going to zest this mofo up, okay? 0 fucks to give. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. I do need to give a disclaimer before we get into this episode that I was originally going to be recording this on a different day, but I landed a pretty cool speaking gig that I'm accepting last minute. So I had to move some things around. And I may or may not have already taken a half of a gummy. Now, this was about 20 minutes ago. Reason for the disclaimer is this said gummy is a new brand. I have not tried it before, and I am not sure if it's going to kick in, if we'll notice it. And I thought it was only fair. So if you do not want to listen to Unhinged Tiffany, then this is not the episode for you. I want you to know how common and normal it is for entrepreneurs, business owners, people wanting to grow, people wanting to add new revenue streams into their life, people who are awake, people who are not the sheep, people who work on themselves, people who continue to evolve and have a genuine curiosity about life and continue to enhance their spiritual practices and connecting with their higher selves. You are going to have slumps. You're even going to have spiritual slumps. And if you listen to my episode, was it last week? Yeah, last Monday that aired when I was talking about the messy middle of success and manifestation. That's as raw as it gets, people. Okay. I had 6 to 8 weeks here where I was going through an ego death. I didn't realize it was an ego death until I was like halfway through it. I go, this is not some pedestrian slump, up leveling, spiraling, overthinking thing that we crazies do. This was on a magnitude of, I would even dare to say, like 8.7. It was not cute. This was my second most anguishing, biggest quantum leap growth that I have had in 10 years. And that's saying a lot. If you've been a long-time listener, you're like, holy shit, Tiff, I've been listening to you since 2018, and you've had a lot of stuff go down. And you're telling me this last 68 weeks was like that big? Yes. And I want you to know it's actually a good sign. And that's part of what gets me through it. I do have a great support system of my own coaches and my own people in my inner circle. Shout out, you know who you guys are. Jen's one of them, who's my podcast producer. I mean, I had to be vulnerable and reach out. And it's even vulnerable with my coaches that I pay to reach out, people I pay on my team when I'm in that low of a spot and it's not breaking. And that's one of the reasons why it's happening, is to humble you, is to ground you, is to get you into such a place of humility and being cracked open that you can allow people to show up for you. Because I know your ass is an overgiver. and an overdoer, and likely a high percentage of you are fucking codependent like me. And you end up doing so much and holding space and offering help and doing all the things for so many people in your life. But then when it comes to you, even though you do want it, and maybe you've allowed some of it at times, but you're not allowing the amount of help. Why am I starting to cry? You're not allowing the amount of help that is going to be required for you to go at the next level. And that's part of why you're in so much pain and discomfort and feel dysregulated and out of sorts. You might even feel numb. You might just feel kind of that stuckish feeling, or it might be more potent like mine, where I was like, I actually can't live like this. Like, what the fuck is going on? I truly thought, and I did leave a message for my therapist. I was like, I just want you to know, like, we know I'm unwell in the mind and I do a lot to manage it, but like, I actually might have to be checked in somewhere. That's that's what we were dealing with. But when we're in that space, you cannot get through that alone. It's impossible. And I have met a few people in my life that really put the weight of the world on their back and they go through that alone. And some of these people, and I've coached them, and they seem rather successful on the outside, but you want to know what the truth is? The truth is they're alone. Their actual bank accounts do not look good. They are bringing in a very noticeable amount of money, but their bank account, they're not cash flush. They don't have the true freedom cash, the cash that makes you go, I don't have to work at all if I don't want to, or I don't have to work for a couple years if I don't want to, or, oh, I have the surplus of cash. I need to like hire someone to help me figure out what to do with it. Or even just the cash that allows you to exhale and fucking sleep at night. They don't have that. So they're spending all the money on the showy stuff and the flashy stuff on the outside, and all the money in order to prevent themselves from cracking, from falling apart. They're like propped up on all of these toothpicks, from the potions that they take, from all the people that they have to hire to prop them up, from all the stuff, the external stuff. And we're going to get into something that is blew my mind to learn. I want to share with you, which is intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. So this is a great time to start talking about it. And they are so fixated on the extrinsic, right? Like the followers. Oh, now I'm going to pay to have a book written, like book in a box. Oh, I'm going to pay to be in Forbes. Oh, I'm going to do some big marketing campaign. I'm going to buy a new car and show everyone. I'm going to rent a private jet for an hour. Spending money on getting a lot of plastic surgery, right? It's like that's extrinsic motivation is necessary, but it's when it's so heavy over there, you end up with a bank account that is not cute. Okay. And the reason why my bank account is so flush and only continues to is because when I am being broken down by God, by my higher power, by my spirits, by the universe, by aliens, by the angels, by all the things, I know it's meant to crack me open so a new operating system can be installed. And I was resisting it. Okay. That doesn't mean you're not going to be resisting this pain. I don't want to feel like this. If this is what it's going to be like, I don't want to do my business. I want to quit it all. I don't want to be here. I don't want to have to post. I don't, I hate social media. I hate all this. I don't, I want to do something different. I'm going to change my niche. All this wildness that goes on is you resisting being cracked open, because being cracked open is the most raw and vulnerable feeling. And those of you who've been forced into it, meaning, okay, God knows you're a stubborn ass like I am. And basically, I had to put you in enough pain and force you to crack. Because when we're cracked open, that's when we allow ourselves to receive help, receive more self nurturing and self love, like for, us doing it for ourselves allows us to hear different perspectives, different options, consider different opportunities, consider different things. actually make fucking decisions that were too scary to make before. When you're cracked open and you're like that, you'll leave the partner. You'll file for divorce. You'll quit the job. You will move. You will say, fuck it, I'm going all in. I'm betting on myself. Mm-hmm. I think what was making me tear up, I do think the gummy's kicking in. I have, you know why I know? You know what my tell is? I'm laughing because I'm thinking of Regina. Hey, if you want Regina, my special guest co-host, if you want a new episode with Regina and I where we're spilling the tea, you need to make sure you're DMing her or DMing me. She's at Regina A. Lawrence. And if you listen to the last series that we did, it was a two-parter. It was very impressive that I remembered her Instagram handle, and I just remembered it now. Thus I am high. And I just used the word thus. Oh my God. Okay, so this intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, how this is going to help you get out of that slump is we need to do things intentionally to get ourselves out. If you think of the fact that you're caught in like a riptide, okay, and if you've ever been caught in one, it's fucking scary. And you can be caught in one in shallow water. It's super scary. So it's like no matter what you do, you can't get to shore. And the more you try, the further away you get. Okay, some of you are in a riptide. I was in a riptide. Now, what's funny is my income was not in a riptide. I'm having weekly high, weekly high, weekly high, weekly high over here, whether I'm actively working or not, whether I was spiraling, rocking myself like a child. I'm not joking. And this is a true somatic healing thing, rocking myself like a child on the floor moaning, because when I do this kind of moaning, I don't know if the mic will pick this up, but it's like this. I guess it's kind of a little bit like moaning and humming. It stimulates your vagus nerve and helps calm your nervous system. Weird fact. See, I'm going off on a tangent, but I know a lot of you guys like it. Weird fact, my dad, who died before my 25th birthday, he was diagnosed with cancer, died 6 weeks later. Very fucked up. No family history of it. In fact, everyone lives forever in the Carter family. Like it's insane. Like my grandparents at like to 98, years old, that kind of stuff. And of course, it was one of the most painful cancers. It was esophageal, and no, he didn't smoke. Esophageal to pancreas to stomach. Terrible. And my dad, when I went to go there, and this was the most haunting thing, but it was the first time I saw him after knowing of his diagnosis. And you would hear my dad all through the night up walking on a treadmill, because I guess that can help with pain, and simultaneously humming like that. And so that's where I learned how it stimulates the vagus nerve and the nervous system. And a lot of people just do it naturally without realizing it. That's why a lot of those vibrating neck massagers. Now we're going down vibrator path. Oh, Lord. Vibrating neck massagers, the vibrating foot massagers, those even vibrating plates that are trending all over TikTok, which I almost bought. And I am not allowed to buy any exercise equipment online from Instagram or TikTok. Lord help me. And even standing on one of those vibrational plates, though, that also helps relax your vagus nerve. Let's get back on track here, shall we? So I need you to intentionally take a look at your intrinsic motivation. So this is the drive to do something because it's personally rewarding. So like for business owners, intrinsic motivation can come from like the internal satisfaction you get from your work, the joy of creating something valuable, problem solving for people, making a meaningful impact on other people's lives. So like an example, a business owner enjoys the process of building strong client relationships because it fulfills their passion for helping others grow, or an entrepreneur loves the challenge of solving complex problems within their industry, even if it doesn't immediately lead to financial gains. So don't think that this intrinsic motivation has to be tied at all to money. In fact, it's not whatsoever. Here's a weird one of mine, and I'm challenging you to go deeper versus just like what comes up to you surface wise. That's why I'm sharing this. My satisfaction that I fucking get when one of my clients in my mastermind, a private client in the posse and selling with soul and any of my things, but especially when I'm more closely involved and I get to witness it. So in my mastermind, which by the way, we have the final spots are available and they will go. They are held back for my procrastinators, for my fellow late bookers of travel and in-person things. And this is it. So October 1st and 2nd, it's projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind, 2 full days with me and my Project Me Dream Team. And this move in of itself will get you out of your business slump and have you regain focus and motivation. That in of itself is worth the ticket price, aside from the fact you're getting the roadmap, you're getting direct coaching, you're going to have a plan and know exactly what you need to do to cash in on the most profitable money-making season of the year, quarter of the year, period, end of story. Like, you follow what you're going to learn there and you follow through and you set yourself up so that you have accountability. There is no reason that you shouldn't make $100,000 minimum from that in Q4 of this year. There's no, and I feel super confident in saying that. You know, the issue is that you might not believe that it's possible for you, or you get in your way of like, what if it doesn't work for me? You know, well, I'm telling you, it can't not work. The only way it won't work is you not making a bigger move to get your damn self out of the slump, which is where I was going earlier with the riptide. You've got to do something to get out of a riptide that goes against what feels absolutely innate for you to do, right? Like, what felt natural for me when I've been caught in a riptide is I'm a good swimmer. So I'm going to muscle my way and I'm going to push through it. I'm going to push through it. This riptide has nothing on me. Fuck this riptide. I know how strong I am. I'm going to get through it. That's natural. But then what happens is you can't beat the power of the ocean. And the more you push against it, the harder it pushes back and you end up further out and now you're exhausted. And this is how people drown. Where doing the exact opposite in a riptide is what saves your life. In fact, it's the only way out of it, aside from someone with a helicopter and a ladder that you can grab onto to get out of it, which they usually can't get that low because if there's a riptide, it's windy. The only way out of it is to let fucking go. It's to go with the riptide, which it looks like it's going to take you out into the middle of the fucking sea. It's to go with it and zigzag very slowly, super slothy slow. And that'll get you in. So that's what I'm talking about when you're making an action for your business, for your growth to get the fuck out of it. So anyway, you know what to do. Grab one of these spinal spots at projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. Swipe up, it's in the show notes. It's also on YouTube at Project Me TV in the description, and on my link in bio on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. Also, the final days for the summer sale in my famous Project Me Posse business and money coaching membership. This is where you get weekly live coaching from me. And it's in a group format, but it's designed to get you from $0 to $15,000 a month in your business. There is an exclusive video training library of over 350 videos that will blow your mind. If you've ever seen me live and experienced me in a live training, imagine what it would be to have a training on every fucking topic you can imagine, for manifestation, your money mindset, to grow your business, to social media, to email marketing, to sales funnels, to how to sell, all of it. all in one spot, and you can get it for $2 a day right now. So you need to go to projectmewithtiffany.com/Project Me Posse. And that link's in the show notes in the description on YouTube. Get yourself out of a slump by taking the contrary action. Get out of the riptide by doing the exact opposite you think you need to do. You think you need to, I need to figure it out. Well, I need to use what I've learned in this other course that I took first. Oh, well, I paid for coaching, or I paid for this, 2 years ago, and I'm still paying it off because I didn't get much out of it. Okay, well, how is it working for you? Are you bringing in coin? Or are you just getting more consumed with stress and overthinking and getting more and more discouraged and it feeling further and further away? Okay. Just keeping it real for you. So let's look at this weird intrinsic motivator of mine. So where I was going before I went off on the mastermind and posse tangent is when someone gets it, when it clicks. And I've had it happen many times in 16 years between mentoring people, doing live trainings, events, speaking, my programs. And when someone fucking gets it, and I know they get it, and I can feel they get it, and then they look at me and they go, okay, it's all coming together now. And they're nodding their head. I go, yes, it is. I know that person's life is absolutely about to shookethly change. And there's no better feeling because of how empowering it is to make money on your own terms, where the fucking government, where your ex, where your baby daddy, where an employer, where one bitchy client, where, any family member, it doesn't fucking matter what they say, what they do, what their opinion is. They can't control your choices. You've taken it all away. They're all yours. And that's my extrinsic motivator, which we're going to transition into. So you heard my internal one. That's how deep I want you to go. I would like for you to pick two. You definitely have two in there, the two strongest. And this is a great episode to also share, by the way, with other people on your team, other leaders on your team, or in your life, any fellow business owners, your partner, because it's really interesting when you learn what the intrinsic and extrinsic motivators are of the people who work for you and the people around you. It's like knowing the love languages, but it's even more deep. So extrinsic motivation, this type of motivation comes from external rewards or pressures. So, and you're like, pressures? Why would that be a motivator? Oh, we're going to get there because it's something that I had an addiction to that I have to be very careful of. It's also motivation for money, public recognition. It can also be from avoiding negative consequences, which is a big one for me. So these are something external factors, right? Coming from something outside of yourself. Here is an example. A business owner works long hours to hit revenue targets because they want to be recognized as a top performer in their field, right? They want that recognition. Another example, an entrepreneur is motivated to complete a project quickly to receive a bonus and avoid penalties, right? So it's kind of like taxes, right? A lot of things work on this system. You don't pay your taxes, especially as a business person in the US, at these particular times a year. And even if you underpay, you can overpay them. If you underpay them, oh, they're going to slam you with a penalty, right? And it's like there's all these penalties. So it forces you to make sure you do whatever you have to do, as miserable as taxes are, to make sure that you get them done. You'll pay people to get them done, like I do in my case. And the more wealthy you get, by the way, like you have literally a tax team. I'm not joking. This is what rich people problems are, which I have an episode coming up titled Unhinged Rich People Problems That You Want and How to Get Them. And it's like, I have to remember these are good problems to have, but you don't want to get sued, so you adhere to a contract. For me, an extrinsic pain one is why I have never missed. I've taken like one hiatus. It was like a 2-week hiatus from the podcast since 2018. You always have 2 episodes, and I've had it happen. I've had people suddenly die. I've had surgeries. I've wanted to off myself. There's been lots of stuff that's gone on, but why do I show up? I'm my own boss. There's no one, I don't have a contract yet. Now, let me tell you, I'm very open to manifesting a minimum of a $60 million Spotify, Amazon, YouTube contract for podcasting. I'm putting that out into the universe. Thank you, Alex Cooper, host of Call Her Daddy, because she has it. I was able to add to an extrinsic motivator for me. I was like, I want that. She just showed me what exists. Thank you. It's not like, oh, she has it, I can't have it. She has it, I can have it, honey. So that gets me all excited. But why I show up 2 times a week is, 1, I want a contract like that. 2, I do like the recognition that it's a top 5 show in over 57 countries, that there's thousands of reviews on all these different platforms. The intrinsic part of it, how much I love what it does for you guys. It's like, because I also get to hear about what it does, but I know how great it feels when I listen to a podcast that I resonate with. And I go, fuck, I can't get enough of this. I'm not going to fucking miss an episode. This is actually like fucking saving me. And I know there's a lot of you who feel that way about the show, and there's no bigger honor. That's the intrinsic, right? So you don't want to let down those people you want to help so much that I couldn't imagine not showing up twice a week. Like, that's crazy. So that's a negative consequence I'm trying to avoid. I don't want any of you to not have the episode that you might need that helps you through that day, that gets you out of the thing, that gives you the big idea, that gives you the fucking push to say, fuck it, I'm doing it, I'm going, it's happening, I deserve this. Right? So what are yours? And please make money a part of it. And when you have these set, then you have something to tap into when you start losing motivation. Motivation isn't required, by the way, to become rich or grow a business. Motivation is fleeting. I feel motivated 30% of the time at most. It is rare that I'm motivated. What works for me are the deeper things, the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivations, the things I want to have happen and the things I don't want to have happen. So I need you to use that every day. I want to teach you the 1-5-1-3-5 rule. Now, I can't take credit for it. I don't know who created it, but I've been using it for a long time, and it works for my easily distracted, complex PTSD, overthinking, crazy ass. It's called the 1-3-5 rule, which you do every single day: 1 bigger thing, 3 medium level things, and 5 like small. Like, one of the small ones would be like you needed to pick up something from like the grocery store. An example of a medium task, this could be a doctor's appointment. Yes, a nail appointment counts, and certainly a Botox appointment counts. Even if you're getting a massage, I would even count that as a medium because of how much like time it takes up in your day. So I don't want you, and this is my spin on this 1-3-5 rule, I don't want you putting weight on defining these tasks at these different levels based upon just how much you hate it. I want you to also look into it as how much time it takes, how much of your energy that it takes up, because we only have so much energy to give on any single day. So I want you to kind of compute them that way. Like, for some people, going to the grocery store is a high stressor. So that might not be a small thing. That might be a medium thing for you. For some people, going to a doctor, depending on what kind of appointment, brings up a lot of stress. Maybe you have to drive an hour and a half. Maybe you have to sit in the waiting room for another hour. That might be the big thing of the day. Do you see what I'm saying? So it all depends on what it is for you. I'm just giving you examples for me. And then one bigger thing for me would be I need to get a batch of video content done. It could be something like taxes. Like that's a big thing because that also depletes me more so emotionally and just my mental bandwidth, energetic bandwidth. It feels so like icky doing them. It feels very governmenty with a Y. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really want that much to do with our government right now. It feels dirty. It feels gross. And like anything that like gives government, I'm not into it. I can't imagine I'm the only one who feels this way. I mean, like, I don't watch anything of what's going on. I don't even want to have a discussion about it. I really don't. I don't want to open a piece of mail that looks like that has the government looking font. Like, I want to dispose of it, shred it, get rid of it, and put the trash out as quick as possible. So that's an example of one bigger thing, me reviewing a contract, me negotiating my speaker fee for this gig that I got and why I'm recording this now with a half dummy in me. I had to read through my own contract. Do I have lawyers? I do, but that's for like the bigger stuff. This isn't worth me paying fucking $500 an hour to have someone look at it. But I have to concentrate. I have to focus. It's very adulty. That for sure is one bigger thing. And I already did it today. Recording this podcast episode, I would say is one medium thing. So that's all you got to do every day. 1, 3, 5. And you can you have to incorporate your personal with your business. Because when you're a business owner, when you have all these things going on, there is no separation. There's no separation of church and state. Okay. There isn't. It's all melded in. So if you have to take your kid to the doctor, that might be one of your medium things. And anything you do above the 1, 3, 5 is either you're doing too much and you have an addiction, which is one of the things I mentioned with the intrinsic motivation, the internal pressure, the wanting to prove, a parent wrong, that you're going to be successful or rise above the haters, right? It's like I was addicted to that cortisol inducing pressure thing, and it turned me into a workaholic. So I wanted, I had to do more and I had to get more. And there was like this kind of anger in me, is like a fuck you left over from childhood that was really channeled. I mean, I guess if you're going to channel into an addiction, workaholism's a good one, but that can also kill you, which it almost killed me. But that pressure of you doing more in order to get more, if you find yourself that you keep going above the 1, 3, 5, almost like those 10,000 steps they say to take a day, and you're like, well, I do 17, but if I did 17 yesterday, I have to do 18 the next time. Red flag, red flag. You are not following the ProjectME, the Tiffany Carter, work less and make more formula. 1, 3, 5. A lot of you just need to allow that to be enough. Because part of why you're in a motivational slump where you feel down in the dumps about your business, about your bank account, whatever, what's going on, is because you're constantly doing too much and you are absolutely fried. There's something else that I need to touch on. I have notes for it. I need to hold up my notes to the screen because there is no fucking way a person could read these. Like, I could leave a note upon my death that's so profound for the world to read, and I don't think anyone could read it. It's really fascinating. Your mental energy clock, I need you to track it. Okay. And what I mean by that is Where in the day do you have the most energy? Where does it drop off? This can change. Sometimes it changes during like your menstrual cycle, right? Like at a different time, it can change to the moon. And yes, it's a real thing. It can change based on the stressors you have going on in your life or any health stuff. So I need you to kind of track it, loosely, but just take note of it over weeks. Okay, is there any changes? Because it's usually slow shifts of what's going on. And then I want you to put the bigger and medium tasks. So the 1 and the 3 of the 1, 3, 5 in that highest peak energy zone and save. I call them dumb tasks, the 5 small ones. Save the dumb ones for when you're dumb done for the day. When I'm fried, I can still go pick up something I need from Target. Okay. When I am fried, I can order the things that I knew I needed to get from Amazon. When I'm fried, I can make a list of all the props I need for a photo shoot. Do you get what I'm saying? So save those for when you don't have it in you or during a time of day that's like high stress. Like I know for the moms out there, mornings until drop off are a shit show. I can only imagine. It would be a shit show if I had kids. It would be such a shit show that I would have to hire a nanny specifically for that period of time of day because I wouldn't be able to pull it off. I don't think I would, and not be cunty to the kids. I would have to have help. So shout out to y'all who are doing that. Last key thing. I have so many tips over the years. So if you're liking this, let me know, send me a DM, take a screenshot of this episode, share it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany, or take a screen recording of the episode, share the audio. I want you to comment. You can share also on YouTube. And if you really appreciated it, because these are very unique, they're not like the basic bullshit thing and methods that people talk about, because that stuff doesn't work on me. So I can do a specific one for people who have a really tough time focusing. You just need to tell me, like, request it. I would really like one, about procrastinating, focus, or whatever. I've got tips for them all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have what I have today. It would be impossible. I had to make up shit because there is always a way. That is my motto. That's the motto that's responsible for everything I have, straight up. Also, don't forget, before I share this last tip, don't forget final days for the ProjectME Posse Business and Money Coaching membership sale. Select the annual option. That's $2 a day. Be done with it. If you have a major commitment problem, like or commitment trauma or something, you can do the month to month, but it's stupid because why do that when you're going to be in there and you're committing to a year anyway? And then it makes it $2 a day. It's like buying the larger size container of pickles. Your ass is going to eat all the pickles and they're not going to go bad by the time you eat them. And if you're saving a couple dollars, even $1, why wouldn't you get the bigger thing of the pickles? Wow. We know I'm high. We know I'm high. It's fine. Hi. Hi, I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, who's high. I really hope this is making some of you laugh. Because if you're not bringing the fun back in your business, that's also why you get into these slumps. Truly. And I should do a separate episode on bringing the fun back into your business. In fact, I'll save it because it's a whole acronym. It's a whole thing that I created in order to help myself out of slumps. Because if we're not having fun, there is no point in doing this. Go work for somebody else. I'm being serious. Do not do this if it's not fun, because there's a lot of stuff that happens and it requires a lot of mental gymnastics and mind fuckery to do this stuff and put yourself out there. So if you're not going to even have any interest in making this fun, it just won't work and it won't be sustainable. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind to grab one of the final spots to the mastermind. Again, I don't know if I'm doing this next year. So don't go, oh, I'll go next time. I've seen a lot of you say that I'll go next time. What the fuck is next time? Why not now? What's going to change between now and next time? Another year is going to go by, and what if there's not a next time? What you have is right now. It's fascinating. And I've thought of myself when I've said that. If I say next time about something, that means I must not think that I'm going to get that much out of it. Truly. So you must think you're not going to get that much out of it because you're basing it on past experiences when you've been in masterminds or you've been in programs and you got a little bit out, but you didn't get that much to where it's worth you flying or driving to Los Angeles and staying and paying for the ticket. It's like not worth it. You don't see that it's worth it because other things weren't worth it in the past. Well, that would be like saying, I'm not going to date anyone new because the last 10 people I dated were horrible. I'm never getting married again because my ex-husband's a narcissist, right? Like what, then you end up with nothing. You end up with no growth. That's part of why you're stuck. And I just wanted to go through that deeply because I know there's so many of you who are like me listening, like attracts like, and you have gone into the weeds thinking about if you should come, and it keeps coming up every time you see me mention it. Every time one of my reels pops up, a TikTok pops up, every time you listen to a podcast episode, every time you get an email, you're like, should I go? It like kind of sits on there. If it hasn't left your mind and you've heard it this many times now, you're meant to be there. Fucking trust it. Trust that guidance. And the other sign I would say is on the other side of the spectrum, where if this is your first time really hearing it, and I might be brand new to you, where you're like, I don't even know you. I don't even know why the fuck I'm listening to this podcast. Like, you're so new to me, but you resonate like, oh my God, where has she fucking been? This is so refreshing. Someone who's like a real fucking person and not delivering the same vanilla bullshit and is speaking my language, and like, I can't get enough. It's like she's talking right to me. You're the other person that has to go. If you're anywhere in the middle, you're not on either of those sides. Anyone in the middle, don't come. You're not at an energetic frequency at that level yet. But if you're in one of the other two sides, I'm just saying, anytime I've avoided not doing something and I was in one of those two sides, I have paid a price for it. And I've always gone, why didn't I do that? I should have done that. I'm such a fucking scaredy cat. Anyway, you guys know where to go for all the things. All right, last tip. I call this my 80-20 rule. 20% of your actions account for 80% of your income generating and joy generating activities, life, the input that is flowing in. So 20% of the stuff that you do is what's responsible for 80% of your joy and your money, to be blunt. Therefore, look, you just shaved off having to do 80% of the things. It's really only 20%. The other 80%, a lot of it's fucking nonsense. A lot of it's busy work. A lot of it is your addiction to tasking and doing. And that is not working for you. So you need to pare it way back and make a list of what are the activities that truly, when you draw a line, lead to you making money, or lead to you having joy. And that's what you focus on first. So when you do that 1-3-5 rule, then I want you to go, okay, what are the 20% of those activities? Those need to be prioritized to be on your 1 big thing, 3 medium thing, 5 small things a day. And then if there is overage and it does make sense for you to do some other things, or you can multitask some of these things without, draining yourself of more energy and more time, then you add some of these from the 80% of the category. Because a lot of the things that you do, or you even stress about doing, or you even having it on your list, it's kind of laughable. It's unnecessary, or you could pay someone like $10 to do it. I'm not even joking. Like, we're insane. In case you forgot, you are unwell. If you are attracted to me, this podcast, the reason I get you is because I'm insane. There are people listen to this show and they're like, they can't follow it. Like, it's too deep. Sometimes it's too out there. It's too crude. I love when people call me crude. It's too raw. I've been told it's too much. It's too intense. Well, I must be the just right recipe for you listening, or you would have already turned off at this point. And I'm so grateful for you. The podcast reviews mean so much. They go such a long way. And if you want to do something to give back to this episode for my birthday month, Virgo season, I would so appreciate you leaving a 5-star written Apple podcast review. You can tap the 5 stars on Spotify. You can subscribe over on ProjectME TV on YouTube, leave a comment, take screenshots, screen recordings, post them in your social media, and tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Just any way that you can share the show with people who would love it and appreciate it is what is helping our special show continue to grow and grow and grow all over the world. And this is how we spread that abundance. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.